So every year there's always a group of anime movies and games that the internet goes crazy about. I'm talking Attack on Titan, My Hero Academia, JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, Undertale, Five Nights at Freddy's, Overwatch, Get Out, A Quiet Place, Cats. Whatever YA about having to trust teenagers to save the world when they can't even choose which unrealistically hot human/humanoid to take to prom. Well, actually, that's true for anime too. And some video games. We have an unhealthy obsession with this, don't we? Anyway, most of the time when this happens, I get skeptical because the hype doesn't last much past the season or the stuff isn't as good as everyone says, which is kind of unfair. I mean, if everyone tells you that something is amazing, it's never really gonna be as good as people tell you, even if this movie could be good. This game can be great. This show can change my life, but I am going to scrutinize it the more people tell me how amazeballs it is. That's why I don't really pay attention to these fad shows people talk about. Usually I'll just put it off until at least it is fully out, or even years later, or never, which is, of course, great for somebody on YouTube who wants to get views. Keep putting up videos about shows nearly 10 years old, Brasley 101. One day you'll get those views. I mean, I literally just played Undertale recently, and that game came out in 2015. That's like ancient in internet years. And with anime, I just don't tend to like what goes mainstream, not because I'm obnoxious. I can't say obnoxious. Not because I'm an obnoxious hipster. No, I'm just obnoxious. I can say it now. And the shows that usually get attention are shonen. Now, I'll like a good shonen any day, but a lot of the time they follow the same formula. A kid who wants to be the strongest blank and becomes it even though he's terrible at it because he has or acquires some special power. Or a gritty action-packed drama about finding the truth to a murder or an evil organization of evil. So when I say I haven't seen Sword Art Online, most of you shouldn't be surprised. And half of you probably don't care because apparently half of the internet has agreed that liking SAO unironically is the equivalent of saying that you have the IQ of a goldfish, even though when it first came out, no one would stop talking about it. Everywhere, whether you liked it or not, people would not shut up about SAO, and nearly 8 years later, God, I'm old, it's on its 3rd season with a possible 4th season on the horizon, and I still haven't watched it. I have seen the first episode, but meh. I don't really care for it. It wasn't good enough for me to want to watch more or bad enough for me to watch for the masochism of it. I have heard that it picks up for better or worse further in, but I don't really care. Maybe one day I'll get bored or drunk or both and throw it on, but now I'll stick to watching shows like, oh, The Promised Neverland. This looks like a fun and cute time. And I should have expected this. Anime. When you're 12, you look 20. When it's perverted, it's deep. And when it's named after something remotely cute, you should find your nearest adult. Or not. But with that in mind, there's pretty much no way for people not to spoil me in some way about this show, whether from memes, videos, and just conversation. So after reading an article on a blog called Why We Like Reading about never having read Moby Dick, even though it's a pretty famous book, and then giving a synopsis about how she thinks the book goes, I decided to try doing the same, because why have your own ideas when I can steal someone else's? So without ever having watched Sword Art Online, I am going to give you a rundown of what probably happened in the first season. And go. So in the distant year of 2018 or something, a video game is released and everyone's like, what? Because you plug your brain into it and get to live your Digimon fantasy, and no one has seen The Matrix, or Spy Kids 3D, or Total Recall, .hack Sign, .hack Legend of Twilight, .hack GIF, and everyone is really excited because the teabagging is so realistic until bored Steve Jobs is like,
you're all dead now, and if you die, you're dead, Mother Ducker, because you didn't buy enough iPod stocks.
Yes, that's a thing.
They keep your iPod warm on cold days.
Suck a dick!
Then everyone's avatar turns into the real, never seen the sun, living off a diet of potato microchips gamer bodies they actually have. Then bored Steve Jobs says the only way to get out is to climb a tower of 1,000 floors, or kill everyone, or something else very pleasant, because no one thinks to Spider-Man this shit. And they realize bathrooms are a thing, and there are less girls than they thought, and the girls who are left are in their worst female gamer nightmare. Enter Kirito, who is the best gamer because he has a black leather jacket that constantly blows in the wind, a huge sword that's not overcompensating for anything, and can attract all the cute gamer girls within a 5-mile radius. And cute gamer girls fawn over him because their conversations don't go like, fucking bitch. Then there's a few episodes about the best girl competition where he meets pedophile bait, incest bait, and then finally Tsundere-chan, and fights him in a tournament. He defeats her with his huge sword. And she's like,
You cheated, dummy, but let's get married and have the internet make a whole bunch of hentai about us.
so much hentai, too much hentai, is this even legal? Ready Player One, heck, even Inception kind of counts, and The Cell, and Paprika. Then they find Steve Jobs, kill him, R.I.P. Steve, and everyone gets out, and the show ends. JK. Tsundere-chan gets to stay because she needs to collect 100 eggs to get the secret ending. And some guy who probably thinks the show You is a heroic love story wants to make her his waifu body pillow because of all the previously mentioned hentai. And Kirito is like, that's my wife, bitch. And goes back to save her because pedophile be damned if someone's gonna stop him from getting laid. And he is not going to clean up her poop pile. Then this happens for some reason. I don't know the context of how this scene came to be, or why, nor do I really want to know. I just know this is a scene parents and friends walk in on when you're watching anime. Even when you live alone. Jumanji kinda counts. Sathora, Black Mirror, I'm pretty sure there's an episode about it in Futurama, Ghoul Girl Crush, and there's like 500 more anime about it I'm not even going to name. So he and Tinkerbell go back into the game, fight a tentacle hentai monster, offer Mr. Waifu some totally not a trap cookies. The tentacle monster eats Mr. Waifu.
And Cthulhu's hunger is once again sated for the next 100 years.
Then Steve Jobs comes back, Dumbledore style, because he's cool like that, and is like, what up? And Kirito's like, why did you kill everyone? And Steve Jobs is like, 'cause plot, and self-destructs the whole game. Then Kirito saves Tsundere-chan. Tsundere-chan lives with the ever-waking memory of becoming a pervert's hentai fantasy. Gamer, Stay Alive, Digimon. Did I say Digimon? Kirito now rules the death game with an iron fist because he and Cthulhu are best buds now, and they brought back the game with the power of friendship. And everyone lives happily ever after, until immediately going back to the gaming deathland of death after having learned nothing from the past few months. A gun patch is added to the game, and Tsundere-chan has a recurring nightmare about tentacles, and cameras, and serial experiments lane. Yeah, that should cover it.